Um, okay. All right. Listen, y'all, I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to come on in. I know that I am so late, and I don't want to. I won't take long. Just about 10 minutes of your time, just to um, just to just say Happy Mother's Day, and then talk about the day I had today. And I'm just so happy of what took place, even though it was a trying time. Now, um, I want you to, I want you to be thankful of those people in your life who really have played an instrumental role to where you're at in life. I'm a firm believer that some people are blessed because of the people that are in their life, and then some people um, are I guess in this whole American system that we live in, we are blessed. I mean, we are really blessed, but life brings about some challenges, and that's what I was going to talk about this morning. I was going to talk about this mother who was probably not popular among people who are doing well, and I have never, I think you can always get caught up because the world wants everybody to be popular, and everybody's supposed to be a millionaire, and everybody's supposed to, you know, be like this, and all of us are just like batters in the dugout on deck, waiting for our great big opportunity, and nobody is if you ever notice, it's all about me, and then those people um who have a zeal for trying to make big money, or trying to be the hottest thing, probably have more stress than anybody. I had an excellent day, very tiring day, but it was a very excellent day. And I am learning in ministry that um, ministry, the church is a living organism. Do you understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is the church is going to move, and it's going to keep on moving, and it's going to grow on its own because God is in charge. I think that if we as people would get back to seeking God, I just believe the world would be better. Now, today is Mother's Day, and I know some people are probably not going to like what I say here, but personally, me, one day out of the year is not enough to thank real mothers. It's not enough to thank them. You take one day and say it's Mother's Day. I have tried down through the years, and even though I've not always tried to do right, but I have always tried, and especially after the Lord has really blessed me amongst, you know, I've had these Tuesday night lives, and above everything, I'm trying to inspire some young people, because when you're here in the South, when you don't see any black lawyers, you don't see any black doctors, you don't see any black business owners unless they are cutting hair or some restaurant. We don't see any black judges. There has never been a black judge in this county ever. Um, and there's no inspiration. So when you are in a situation and see the people that you're in it with, they can't see it because they're, hey, play it safe. Hey, don't say anything. And we're so brainwashed that we will take one day to honor our mother. Listen, ask my mother for yourself. If you don't believe me, ask her. I try to make sure my mom has everything that she needs, not just on Mother's Day, because I've been so busy today, and it's pitiful. I've only talked to her one time, and it wasn't until 3 o'clock after church. But ever since the Lord has turned my life around when I was in my 20s, let me tell you this: I was about 28, and I was moving my mother into the place where she lived, and she looked at me at 28 years old and she said, "Son, I'm proud of you. You're finally a man." And you got to know my mother, because I'm like her. She'll just tell you straight up. And she really meant that, because at 28 years old was when I finally, you know, the thinking cap turned on, and all of that craziness. And that's late, if you ask me. Um, people, some people don't, some people never come to it, but then some people don't never go through the stuff that I didn't have to, but I went to because of being hard headed. But has always my mother was a teacher, and that's why I want to talk about, let's see what we got. It's 7 minutes, but I took 4 or 5. Give me about 4 or 5 more minutes. My mother was a teacher, and one thing she taught me as a black person, as a black male, is you make sure that you don't live on a woman. If you gonna smoke cigarettes, she said, then buy your own. Be responsible. My mother taught me it, and it's so different from today when it comes down to holding silverware. My mother was on it, y'all. You would have thought that you committed a felony for not holding your spoon or your fork right. Taught us how to act in public, taught us how to respect other people, taught us how to appreciate other people. So I think that's why I am where, and not that I'm not some Hollywood actor making a lot of money, but in my life, that's not what matters. What matters in life, and that's why I have to practice more of resting myself, because what's important in life, and this is just me, are the things that you put in your heart and in your mind, the things that you are willing just not to do that you used to do and you wouldn't even have no problem doing it. The things that matter the most. Now, I have been a really busy person in ministry down here in the South, where they're not where preachers can have my the first pastor I had, and I've had his son on here, Reverend Gardner, B. Joseph Gardner. I did not know this until I was grown, and this goes to show you how far behind we are down here. You have a man who had a master's of divinity from Vanderbilt now, and they thought that the man of God should be. And this was a man I never will forget. I got hit by a car one time. I say he was everywhere, visiting people, and he still had a regular job. And I get it, because Paul says, the people, I don't want y'all to be saying anything about paying me, so I'll work. But the type of pastoring that I do, I promise you, I probably drove 300-400 miles this week, and have I have an awesome invitation to do something that it just blows my mind. A good friend of mine, I don't know what he sees in me, because I always play myself down. I know who I am. I know what I am capable of. I know what I'm not capable of, and I thank God that I am who God made me and not what people call me. Um, I want to say Happy Mother's Day. I want to encourage you that you have a purpose in your life. Now, of course, today has first of all, I was up early, then I fell back asleep. And, sometimes that good sleep is not something you come out of. And if my son wouldn't have woke me up, I'd probably still be asleep. So we had some technical difficulties. I was very late today. So the sermon that I had, I didn't even preach today because I was the one late and I wasn't going to hold the people. I still had business to do. Baptized two brilliant young ladies, 12 and 13. I mean, hey, listen now. I'm going to tell you something, older people, those of us who are in our 40s and 50s and on, these young people they are very, very intelligent. And more than intelligent, just smart. I'm intelligent, but they are like, I'm like, wow. Ask you questions about the Bible that you don't know and that you got to go find. So I'm grateful for the training that I had that I was able to answer, and then they were baptized. So grateful because that's the first time I baptized somebody in over a year. This whole pandemic, nobody was baptized. But I want to let me say this and then I'm gonna go. I'm notorious for saying give me 10 minutes and then I'm done and then I keep on going. Y'all got I have no I don't make a habit of lying, but you got to tell it what it is. Part of our problem with the world today is you have a group of people who they're gonna hold you accountable for something, trust me. But they themselves, hey, they are not going to be accountable for nothing and know they wrong. And that's just unfortunate. But I've done things too, and I cannot act as if I'm squeaky clean, but some people do. All right, now in First Kings chapter 3, now you read that, and this might be what I do all week long, just to talk about this, because this right here, if you throw yourself into this text and you look at it and then meditate on it and do a little research, it'll bring something to your heart to understand. Let me give you a little bit. That just because somebody is a prostitute, just because somebody is a drug addict, just because somebody have some things that's not right about them, let me tell you what they are. They are still a human being. Get away from people who want to act like they better than you because they have or they think they have more accomplishments than you. Get away from people because you made some mistakes in life. Um, don't understand that just because they're there and you're here and you are doing this because you have no other way to do whatever, or that's the only thing you know. Get away from people who are going to point the finger but don't pick you up. Get away from people who know that you have important business to do and they have no desire whatsoever in trying to promote you. I was in situations like that. And this text right here, I think about my mother. And my mother, even now, on a fixed income, and I'm not even, it's people that get mad at this, but my mother does more in finances than some people who have left, of course, now, because you got to tell the truth, and they just can't handle, when the truth hits them in the face. They good as long as they can tell it on somebody, but they don't want to hear it about them. You should see the strange way they act. But my mother supports our church, and I know she don't have the money. I know she don't, but she does more for the church on a fixed income. And fixed income people are on a poverty level. If you don't believe me, just check it out for yourself. And it still to this day, and I wonder if she watching, I can't see. Mama, I ain't trying to embarrass you, but I am talking about how much I appreciate you and how much I appreciate and I want to get over to some other people too, like my aunt. Oh, I've got an aunt that just, I mean, I know she knows I'm a big fella. She knows I love to eat, And I don't care what it is. I can ask her right now, Tiny, can you fix me some whatever? And she's just so generous. They don't have to do that. So I'm just talking about and the mothers and the women, older women in my life who have been a blessing and still a blessing. I done enough for my mom to be through with me, but she's hung on in there, and still to this day she loves me. I thank God for. I see Paul. Is Paul the only one on here? Oh wow, I see four, but I can't see them. We got to do something about that. But they have even when I was not even fit to be a son, um, my mama was always there, and I'm a pretty decent boy. But like anybody, it kills me these people who don't want to. And I guess I'm gonna talk longer than 10 minutes now since we got some more people on here. But it kills me these people who come to church and want to act like there's so much, but they got holes in their testimony, y'all. And get away from people who don't want to admit when they're wrong and don't want to uh, support, you know, those who are the least of these. Now, Jesus, the Savior, the anointed one, do you ever see him not helping anybody when they need help? Do you ever see him condemning folks, even if they condemn him? Jesus is more now of a what would we call it, like Dr. King. They were real people, myths, you know, just some nice story. And even people who go to church don't believe in Jesus, y'all. Uh, they have no sense of anything because the relationship with God. And I'm so proud of this. And what really bothers me is when the tools to life that can the word that you can get inside you and make you change forever is available and people are not even accessing. It's like having a good pastor who will do anything that he can to ease the burden, but you don't appreciate it. People, because of this system that we live in, are brainwashed and don't. Hey, this is the status quo. As long as I have a little car, a job, as long as I'm eating, we good. Never mind them over there who are suffering. See, that's not where I come from. I remember, and you hear me say it often, that people would eat and and if they needed something, they can go next door. I am too, I guess, prideful, if I was going to be honest, to go and ask anybody for anything now because I'm sure they talked about you then, but they'll certainly talk about you now. I think about this prostitute, and that's what she was. The Bible says she was a harlot, but she had an issue. She's a prostitute. She's a harlot. She know who she is. Let me tell you something. Look at that text real quick, and I don't have it in front of me, but the Bible doesn't even acknowledge her as a mother, as a woman. It acknowledges her as a prostitute. Now, you want to talk about somebody who won't, you know, when you, you know, you can be doing something for so long that people don't even call you by your name. They end up calling you a crackhead. They end up calling, he's a preacher. Oh, she's we said in back in the day, dyke, you know. Oh, everybody has to be so politically correct nowadays. And if you're not, they'll take you off of this and they'll, you know, listen, the Bible is the Bible. And I must admit it, one time I was, you know, I didn't say certain stuff. Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you that the wages of sin is death. God don't handle his all of his accounts in one day. But the gift of God is eternal life. And I don't have time for political correctness. And here's why. Because politics are not even correct. Ice Cube had an album come out, and I never heard the album, but I remember him talking about it on the Arsenio Hall show. Corrupt. Everything is corrupt. Now, husband, wife, one unit. Everything that we even listen to is made to divide. Let me show you something. God said, let there be light. Am I right about that? Did he say it? Is that in your Bible? I hope that I'm saying something that's in the Bible now. God said, let there be light. And guess what? And there was light. Now, this is where the devil messes with us, and make us think that what God is saying is not right. God is the light, and the devil brings so much darkness, make you do things that you don't even know that you're doing, like celebrate your mother on one day. That's the pitifulest thing I've ever heard in my life, is for somebody to be saying Happy Mother's Day one day. And then on the flip side of that, for people to be upset if you, I've only talked to my mother. I haven't talked to my aunt today. If you don't hear Happy Mother's Day, you've been a blessing to me and all those people. You know, and people who really love you, they know, they know what's going on. They know you trying to maintain what you got going on. They don't fuss about that. I guarantee you. I could call my aunt right now. She won't be mad at me because I haven't had a chance to call her today. I didn't even get to church till I ain't gonna tell you it was late. But I hope that the people who come to our church, and I hope that one thing that they get from Pastor Davis is this: the world is have us thinking one way, and we think that everywhere else we can be do no accountability at church. But when you go to the courtroom, you straighten up. And people who think they're cute, tell them to go to the courtroom and do some of that stuff that they do. They ain't gonna do it. Tell them to go and get sideways with the judge. They listen. If the judge was a midget, they ain't gonna get sideways because they know they have the power. And I'm glad God don't give us as the church that kind of power. Do you know why the government take taxes out? Before you even see your money, they take it. Do you know why? Because they like me, they don't trust you. They don't. So they're gonna take their money now because they know some folks don't pay it. And God don't operate like that. He rather you be willing, because he's been so good to you. He'd rather you be willing to come to church, to worship him in spirit and in truth, to grow and to read the Bible for yourself. And not and this is where y'all, it's frustrating. I know we have people who have great ministries and they just I mean, everything is going good and I love that. But in every part of the world is not like that. I'm thankful for our church. I have some oh man, I cannot express enough how I am grateful for the Greater Hope Church. We could have been closed down, but the Lord didn't say that. We are actually a blessed people. But I don't want to be the church that if somebody makes a mistake, we point the finger. We've got too many finger pointing Christians who want to look at you, and then they've been doing stuff, like a deacon to put a preacher out, or a conjure up a meeting to put up. I am so sick and tired of Otis Moss the third had a sermon, and he says, what was it? Oh my God. But I can't stand the church. What was that? Oh, yes. Yeah. That's what it was. I love Jesus, but I can't stand church folks. oh, I can't stand the church. Why? Because, well, when I look at Jesus, he was the perfect example of being a perfection in the flesh. Run up on a woman who's pretty loose in life. You know, had a husband and um a boyfriend. And most people will look at her and she'll come to church. I've seen it. And she just wants the word of God. She wants to be a good individual. And then you'll have some heifer in there because she's probably done got older and don't do what she, don't look like she used to look, talking about her. Instead of encouraging this young lady, same thing on the other side, even though we don't have a lot of, in this area, in the South, we don't have a lot of men, but I'm thankful for those men we do have, because when you are a man, you know, when you are especially a black man, when you are a real man, let me tell you something, you are going to catch hell on all sides. You're gonna catch hell from other black men. I've had people, and I'm not a tell-all type of person. There's some people who they want to put it out there, but they won't say nothing about themselves. I'm not a tell-all people, but I've had people look at me and smile and then turn around and do some of the most um, sneaky and snakish stuff and be proud of it too. Listen, you don't get over on people by being like that. What you do is on down the line and see, I'm not the one who says, "Oh, God don't get you," because I don't know. Um, I don't delight myself in anybody else's downfall, and that's why church will always be safe in my hands because I really fear the Lord. But church has to get rid of these perfect pretending fakes. Okay, I'm so glad right now that out of our churches was, when I got there, God knows was fresh out of college and I'm moving, and church just is still doing great in my opinion with less people. Um, Here is what I think about church people, and this is why I'm grateful to have had a mother like I did. My mama taught me to never be a fake who act one way but then do another thing. And church, because I, people get whatever they get. People, they're gonna say what they're gonna say, but people don't come to church. Why? Because there's no inspiration. The first time my clerk came to our church, it was a situation that happened, but she still came. I said, this girl has got to be some type of, because I wouldn't have never came back. And that's the attitude we have. I ain't gonna never come back. But you can go to a club and see a Negro get killed, and you'll be right back in there Saturday, doing your thing. Church has got to be a place of healing. It's got to be a place where you can look at the preacher and know that he's not perfect or she's not perfect. It's got to be a place where you can see somebody come in off the street and might have a liquor bottle out of their back pocket, and we still love them. Oh man, the devil is full of hate for you, and you never see devils turning on devils, do you? But you always see people of God turning on each other. Devils don't ever fight devils. They stand united and possess this one man with all of them demons. Devil don't play fair. It takes a lot of time to change a person's mind. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if I was raised like this, oh, I got a perfect example. Listen, y'all, remember that back in the day, um, there was this thing that you could put food in, like maybe if you was making some whatever, and you had some celery and you had to grind it up. Well, nowadays they got these things that you put it in there and it does all the work for you. But the church is the only place that I've seen that's still doing it the old school way. We still turn around and look at everybody when they come in. We still arguing over chicken and green beans and all that kind of stuff. We still telling folks stuff that's untrue. We're still down in other people's beliefs, and it is the only place that you can come in, get your fix, because that's all it is for some people. Just my feel good moment, nothing to do with the heart. Oh, they make you think they doing all right, but all the reality will let you know. But nothing has really shifted. I'm in a church building now, and I felt so bad for a lady who's been there all her life. Such a blessing to me. Don't know what I'd do without her. But she says, and I heard her, and it hit me. She said, "We have been in this building all these years, and this, and haven't even." That's the reality. And my feelings was hurt because I think of people who have blood, sweat, tears, other people because they want to, because they don't agree, want to go somewhere else, and then other people want to do everything they can to stop it. I'm just telling the truth. And because if you're not honest about things, you'll linger and you'll think this is the way it's supposed to be, and it's not. um I respect the hard work of those who came before us. Oh, you don't know how much I respect. I can only see Paula. She has a heart, a clap hand, and a heart. Listen, I respect this lady so much because just to see how her walk is, um, and been through, she could tell you herself, but still going. I respect you so much. But then you have those who come, and this is any church. I've preached at a lot of churches. Now, I don't want Greater Hope people to think I'm talking about them. I've been around, and even with us, we have, we went a lot of places in these last 6 years. Those who have went, the whole um, acting like a Christian, the whole acting thing, the whole I'm better than you, the whole you better be glad I even decided to come to church. Nobody's told me that. Well, yeah, somebody has told me that. Um, and that's just how it is. People, hey, listen, when the world, what you eat is what you is. So if you're getting a bunch of junk during the week and you're not taking care of yourself in a way that you come to church and you get around people who have a purpose, and you do purposeful things in life, not for yourself, and not to try to get what do you call it, acknowledgement from the people, because the Bible says, well, that's listen, I do not do what I do for attention. I know that I say things, and I never thought, because when I was coming up, mother and them was serious about whoopings, very serious about whoopings. Oh man, you want to talk about, you ain't had a whooping till you got a whooping from my mother, unless you had a mother like that. Didn't spare no punches. So if you lied, guess what? I almost said something, would get whooped. And mama didn't play. I mean, she didn't play. So truth, even when it comes to me now, I ain't telling you all. I ain't telling you all my business, because most people are just gonna go. Those of you who don't watch it live and go back and see it later on, when I don't know you on here, well, I don't know you on here now. But those people like that hate the truth, hate when it comes to them. Now, if it's somebody else, and that's why the church let me say this because I don't want to be, I want to be correct, but I don't want to sound like, because what I'm saying, God is in control. But the reason why the church is hurting is if the church could ever hurt because God's in control and he does what he want to do. What I'm saying is the reason why our churches are not as fruitful as they can be is because we have too many fruitless people. It's like an electrical socket. It's like this internet. I got to be right beside the motor. And I finally figured out what the problem was not one of my own. But it's like plugging into an electrical socket and turning it on and you have no power. We have people like that. I know that I have made people upset because nobody wants to listen to a young black man at that. They'll listen to a young white man. They'll go to work and they'll be on their best behavior for the white man. But for a young black man who is doing even more than some, no respect. And I'm just the one that's not tolerating that kind of foolishness, because if you'll go to your job and you'll say, yes, sir, master, but then come to church and act like you are even in a position, and not that anybody's ever done that. I've had a lot of issues before I was pastoring with people say, oh, well, don't talk about this. We don't want you talking about that. Well, we are not going to be judging me on Judgment Day. You hear? So I have to preach the gospel. And then older men, I thank God for the men we have at our church. And I'm not talking about older men like 70. I'm talking about, because those men, oh God, thank God for them. I don't think we, in the church now, older men, older than me, 50, 60. I don't know what happened to the church world. I don't know if it's that whole systematic thing where it just puts this prison to pipe, or this school to prison pipeline where they shipping all these black men to jail and locking them up. But we have absolutely hardly any male. What are our kids going to see if they don't see any men in church? What are they going to see? What are they going to do when all they see are women? And then the men will say stuff like, well, a woman's not supposed to be preaching. Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. After this, if we don't get busy training some people and getting with some people who are honest with themselves, we're going to have a generation of nothing but women preachers. So if you don't like women preachers, you better die, because that's all we're getting ready to have, because we don't have no men, so they got to do it. Well, preacher, you was only going to be on here 10 minutes. And now it's been what? 39. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you something. You never get anywhere in life. I can talk about myself, and those who know me know this is true. I come from a humble beginning. My people, well, I don't know, because some of my people, boy, you would have thought that they hung the moon and the stars. And I'm talking about people in my family now. But I didn't come from a place who says you're better than them and you're better than that one. And yeah, his dad does that, so he don't have anything, or he ain't even got a daddy. So no, my people, they didn't do that. Not in my household. But my mama, my daddy taught us how to respect people. They taught us how to be good to people. And they was always straightforward. I look at church in a similar way, because we have people. You have people like Sister Paula, who I never knew before I met her. People like Jamil just popped up. Let me talk about Jamil. You have people like Jamil who have had a life that I have no idea about. But when I see them now, I see people who the Lord has worked with them, and only the God can make a change. And they're just like I am. Some people cannot believe that I struggle every day with some things, but I'm still productive. God has blessed me. And I don't look at people who doing some things that I used to do and point back and say, they ain't never come to church. If I'm there running my mouth, and I run my mouth a lot, but if I'm running my mouth and talking about people, you see that child over there? No, ain't nobody gonna respect that. They not also so it's a catch-22 with me, because you have grown men who are not coming to church, because nobody's gonna listen to a young rascal who, looks to be doing pretty good, and he talked to them in a way that holds them accountable, not disrespectful, because I don't disrespect people. That's just pitiful, really. You got to grow up. But when it comes to the church, no accountability. But on their job, hey, I tell you, I ain't never seen a bunch of people in my life act like they despise the church, but that supervisor say anything you want to. I've never seen in my life people who go to work and hate what they doing, but they go back every day. And for the common man, that's normal. But see, I'm not the common man. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but I am not the common man, which means I listen to the Lord. Common man don't is not day and night listening to God. Don't even believe that there's a God. Just go and everything good that happens, I did it on my own. Let me tell you something. There's nothing good about me. And the more I think about it, there's nothing good about any of us except for Jesus Christ. Y'all, hope y'all don't hear that racket. I just feel somebody walked out and left the door wide open. So forget, I'm getting ready to get off anyway. But let me tell you something. In this new era of church, be like a real mother. I said all that to say this. A real mother. Now, she may not be perfect, but let me tell you what a real mother will do. I still think now, out of all the people in my life, if somebody tried to jump on me, my mother, my mother's 70 years old, and I just believe she would do the best she could to try to protect me. Your mother would go do things that your father or other people won't do. Fathers are, yeah, well, he had no business getting into it. Now he gonna see what it's like to be a grown man. I ain't going down there to get him out of jail. Mother be, you better go get that boy out of jail, and he'll end up getting out of jail, because mother has a way of twisting and shutting down things that gets, and it may not be right, but it's getting attention. Your mother will be there when everybody else turn their back on you. Your mother, listen, here's what I've learned about mothers. Now, my mother wasn't so much on this, but she ain't gonna let nobody hurt me. When I was wrong, my mother did not. Now, she didn't throw me away to the dogs. No, she never did do that. She was highly disappointed, because she know what they put in me was better than the way I was acting. But let me tell you what my mother would do. She would not take up for my wrong. Why? Because there's no growth in that. My mama whooped me. I mean, I still sometimes I used to think, why does she got to whoop me? Because when you're in wrong, you never want to look at what you're doing. Well, you shouldn't have went over there and turned that man motorbike over. I did it. I don't, a lot of the people that I was growing up with have passed on. But some of the stuff I did it. Hey, I confess I did it. And because I was, just always into something, just always curious, overthinker. And my mother, she would always correct me. Now, I'm gonna say this, and this is what I think the church ought to be as we come back to church. Be like a real mother. If somebody walks through the door, treat them as you would treat your own child. Did it come together just then? If somebody walks through the door and they are toe up, look crazy, smell bad, treat them as if that's your child. Because if you treat them like they're your child, you will have compassion on them. You will love them. Now, I don't really know what my church thought today when I come rolling in there after 12. I have no idea what people really think. But people have no idea what I really do either. Maybe one or two people do. Um, but if somebody has made a mistake, preachers, don't mingle with the people and start talking about them. That's just not, you're not, listen, some people are blessed and they have a lot of talent, but you are not getting anywhere in life talking about people who can't help it, okay? You ain't getting nowhere in life like that. As you get older, you start to realize there's some people that I desire not to be around, but if I am around them, I treat them nice. I try to be a Christian. I try not to dabble in things that I should not. I try to be a witness. Lord knows we all make mistakes. Lord knows that there's just some things about all of us that we just don't like. But when you are a mother, you love that child regardless. Listen, I was listening to Willie D. I'm on his YouTube channel. I like Willie D. Willie D is straight. I mean, some of the stuff that people, you don't agree with everything, but Willie D, if you hear me, I appreciate you. Hit that like, Willie D. Smash up the likes. Smash up the likes. I really like what he be saying, and I was listening to him. Here's what he said: there are some people who would do for their children what they would not do for anybody else, even those people who have been there for them. So my challenge to the church is this: love people when they come in, because hey, you think this pandemic was something, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not over. Listen, it's gonna get a whole lot worse before it gets better. You can say what you want to, but you're gonna really be subscribing and liking this channel when stuff gets really crazy, because I'm going to tell the truth about it. I'm one of those people that like I am never going to let nobody hold me hostage. I'll tell it myself, because nobody ought to have power over you because you are being a human being. And church people ought to get off of that stuff of acting like they the only ones who gonna see Jesus. Listen, you might die and go to hell if your heart is in such a way that you think you are so churchy, but you have not really been saved. So that's all I got for you. I did not get to preach today because I wasn't finna hold y'all, those people in there, no longer than I was. I want y'all to put some prayer requests down so I can possibly go back and see the comments, which I'll have to go to Facebook. But I want you to pray for the church. Pray for your families. Pray for your pastor. Y'all, I know what they go through. I'm telling you. If a good friend of mine, I need to call him. He said, listen, man, if you're pastoring right, it'll kill you. And if you're pastoring wrong, it'll kill you. So it's a catch-22. I might as well try to do it right. Pray for the man of God, the woman of God. My daughter looked at me today and been around me all of her life. And she said, and she touched my beard and said, you get the little gray, Dad. And I looked at her. But it's the truth. Getting a little gray. They say gray brings wisdom. I don't believe that, because I know people who are gray-headed all over and have not one iota of wisdom. Wisdom comes from God, and we need the Lord more than what we realize. Happy Mother's Day to you. Listen, if you go to church, and I need to say this, because if you go to church and they don't have, and they haven't heard me say, love those who are unchurched like you love your children, hey, please don't just turn around and walk out. People are human. Church folks don't know that they need to be saved because they think they already saved. But if your heart has not been changed, if you have not confessed with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus is Lord, listen, you are not saved. We don't have, I'm not a hell and you're going to hell. Oh, if you're gay, you're going to hell. I don't say that. Now, don't edit this and just put that out there like y'all did Jeremiah Wright. Don't do that to me because you listen to the whole thing. I don't teach that. I don't preach that because you are a human being and God loves you just like he loved the man who cheats on his wife or the woman who cheats on her husband. He loves the gay just like he loves the straight. He loves the criminal like he loves the law-abiding citizen. He loves the crooked judge who will throw you in jail when you innocent and will let somebody who's guilty go. He loves you, and all you have to do is come to him and ask the Lord to forgive you. If you confess that you have sinned, you confess that you've fallen short of the glory, we don't serve a church folk type God. God will forgive you. The same thieves, one of them, you might not have read one version of the scripture, but at the beginning of that, one gospel writer says both thieves was railing Jesus. I mean, on him. But then one of them heart was changed by God. Because only God, if you're having problems in your life, listen, and you see people acting in a way they're not for you. It don't matter what happened. You can buy them a Lamborghini, Bentley, get them a mansion, as my grandmother would say, and they will still not like you. Listen, nobody can change a man's heart but God. Nobody can make a woman or a man turn from their wicked ways but God. The thief on the cross, one of them looked at the other one. Now he's participating in it at first. If you don't believe me, just go read all the gospels for yourself and you'll see it's in there. It's in the Bible. He turns. Now this is after they had both been railing him. And he turns to the same one that he was in company with, jumping on Jesus, and says, don't you have any kind of sense at all? Don't you have any kind of sympathy? This man has done nothing wrong. And beware, people, when you are, the Bible says 6 things God hates, 7 abomination to him. None of them are being gay. An abomination to him. None of them talk about being gay, but one of them is feet that run to mischief, hands that shed innocent blood, lips. Listen, when you are acting like you're something that you're not, just because you get in the oven, don't mean you a biscuit, and you'll see, because you ain't nobody gonna eat you when you get out, and you're gonna be pretty blistered. You're not a biscuit just because you get in the oven. Well, honey, you're not a Christian just because you go to church, and you're not a preacher just because you got a pulpit. Those who worship him must worship him in spirit and lies. No, but that's the way we act. We act like that. I can't. I'm beginning to be offended by people who like to insult intelligence as if you're dumb. But thank God he knows who his people are. Thank God he knows. Thank God he has. He is the epitome of grace and mercy. And I cannot be in a situation where I'm so judgmental about a person who don't come to church and now they coming. I can't be so judgmental as to not be able to help them. Now, I know there's a lot of probably church people, and that's all they are, is church people who probably don't like what I'm saying. Well, listen, I pray, and I pray right, that the church can be a place that you can come and get help. But as long as you point your crooked finger at somebody, as long as you take up for this one who's doing just as wrong as this one, you're not helping anybody. What's going to help people is the truth of God's word. What's going to help people is to tell people, hey, listen, if they don't listen to you, that you can't do nothing about that. People who don't want to listen, people who just think they got it, hey, let them go on. Why, shake the dust from your feet. But you're not going to get nowhere lying to people. I had a wonderful experience yesterday when a young kids, 13 and 14, was asking me questions about the Bible. And they come from people who have high education. And I said to them, no, I said to myself first, if they keep on asking me these questions, I am going to have to go to some more resources. And when I see that, I was so impressed. I know that there is a God somewhere, because if you're in your 40s, if you're in your, let's see, yeah, 40s, I'd say 40 would be the cutoff age. Maybe 39, 38. You are really, if you're 37, maybe. But if you're my age, you are instrumental, and you're still young enough to make a difference. Now, you're not going to like this, but I got to say it. Where I'm from, the old church was good. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. I love it. But this is not what you're going to like. But it was not very instrumental into the promotion of our people. It promoted nothing about going out. Oh yeah, we had missionary groups that get in there, and I mean, missionary doesn't seem to be the same meeting as the church had it then. So we, because we are of no effect to the world. Used to, people respected the church, and y'all, I've got to go, but people respected the church. They respected the preacher. And now I could write a letter to the judge. I had a situation so dear to me, and I'm not going to talk about it. Those who know, you know who I am. George Floyd got murdered. What, it hurt my heart. He deserved every march, everybody who spoke out against it. He deserved every bit of justice that his family received from being choked out like a criminal. Because just because you do wrong don't mean you deserve to die. You got people on death row that might not ever die by lethal injection, because that's how it is. He deserved that. But let me tell you something. There were people up there marching, and they never said anything about some people who are locked up right now and don't deserve it. Because God made me how I am, I made that statement when somebody tried to get me to come up there. I don't have nothing against what they were doing. But how do you do stuff for people who are, and they need that all over the country? But you got people in your own town that you won't even do nothing for. I don't understand that. People will get mad at me and they'll say, because I'm telling the truth. I've been around people like that all my life. They'll make you look like the bad guy because you're pointing out they're wrong. Dr. King said, you don't get mad at the doctor when he discovers cancer. No, you congratulate him because he's now trying to fix it. But they'll get mad, boy, in a heartbeat when you say something that's just the truth. If somebody said to me something that was truth, I just really can't get mad at them. Now, if they're trying to expose and do all that stuff that people do just to try to be messy, that's a whole different level. But if they come to me and they says, Reverend, whatever you call me, I just want to try to reason with you. I'm coming to you like the Bible says. They don't do that. People don't do that because we got a bunch of cowardly people coming to church. They'll go tell somebody else, but they ain't coming to you. And if they do come to you, they're coming with an army, to try to embarrass you. They'll go tell everybody else, but they won't come to you. Coward, weak, fake. Many people like that. And in themselves, they think they're okay. So I said it. I said, well, I didn't see you down there when this happened to such and such. I had a lady call me from out of town who has a family member locked up right now. Listen, he is not mentally. Lock him up. He's still in there. It's a doggone shame that we don't have people in our churches who are willing to do something or say something. Listen, I just wish we would all love everybody like my mother loved me. Because if we did that, yes, darling, come on in. That's my daughter, y'all. She said, you've been talking too long. But if everybody, hey, y'all look at my daughter right here. If y'all, hey, this is my oldest daughter. This is Trinity. Y'all know Trinity? I love her like her mother loves her. And I'm telling you, I would probably damage somebody if they done something to one of my kids. I had, I'm not going to talk about a situation that totally was out of line. But this girl right here is, I'm just so proud of her. But not only proud of her, I'm proud of Christian. I'm proud of Trey. I'm proud of all of my children. But back to what I was saying. Love everybody like you love your own child. Don't pick and choose who you want to, and then let me tell you this, and this is going to help you. If somebody in your life has been instrumental, if they have been there for you, don't be mad because they got because you are not where you need to be. Or let me tell you what bugs me when people say this, and listen, y'all holding on. I'm gone after this. I promise you. Paula, Sister Willie Ray, and that's all I see. I seen Jamil earlier. Oh, there she is. Okay, listen to this. People, I can't stand when people say, "Oh, you throw it up in my face." I had somebody do that to me, and I remind them of the rich man and Lazarus. Do you remember that story? The rich man, when they was alive, he had all that he had all the money, all the cars, all the guns, all he had all that he had, brother Reed Vaden. D, I see you. I guess you got a comment for me to see. I got to turn this on. He had everything, and Lazarus had nothing. Got the crumbs from the king's table. King could have gave him something. The king could have put him up well. Let me tell you what happened. They died. Both of them died, dead. The king goes to Hades or hell, and Lazarus goes to Abraham's bosom. Somehow, Lazarus can see the king. Abraham can see the king, and the king can see Abraham. They had a conversation, y'all. Listen to how this conversation goes, Tim D style. Abraham, Father Abraham, please have Lazarus. Now, this is mentality of some folk. It don't matter what happens. They can be in the doghouse with you, but they would never see you any more than what you are when you was, down. I don't care because folks are jealous hearted and really don't want to see you do well in the first place. You will always be that little girl or that little boy who used to pee in the bed when you was young. And now you are a multi-millionaire. It's just people like that. It's a mental illness and it's real. He doesn't say Lazarus, he don't even pay Lazarus any mind. He's still a nobody. He says, Father Abraham, have this servant, the Bible doesn't say it like this, but have Lazarus come up and serve me. That's what he's saying. Give me some water. It's hot. Oh, it's hot. He's suffering. He's in hell, according to the Bible. He was a rich man. He didn't have his life together, y'all, because he died and went to hell. And here's what Abraham says. Remember when y'all was alive, you had everything you want. You wasn't stunting this man. Now that you in this shape, you want to call. Oh boy, I'm so glad I understood that in the Bible. I'll throw it back up in people, and it's not really throwing it up in people's face. What it is reminding human beings that you was once in a position. So don't be mad that people are doing you like you used to do them. You better take the medicine. And he says, remember when you, and this is the problem with people who get on a high horse, because I had this happen to me, and that's why I can speak on it. I never will forget. I thought I was somebody. I was making $400 a week. I had a good job. I knew haters was out there then, telling people, oh, he ain't gonna never be nothing, trying to whisper. People do all kind of crazy stuff. But I did. Pride comes before a fall, and my little world came tumbling down. Now, here's what I'm not afraid of. I'm not afraid of falling down, because I know a God who will pick you up. Somebody made the comment one time of, because I'm so boisterous, and telling people what they need to hear and not what they want to hear, that some bad stuff was going to happen. Well, you know what? Here's what I believe. I am not afraid of failure. And here's why. Every time I fail, that put me in a position to go back to the Lord and say, Lord, I need you. I am so sorry. Here I am, prideful 18-year-old kid making $400 a week. I thought I never needed to go to college. I had it made, wearing $50 socks, $100 shoes. Boy, I was somebody. $500 watches. Ooh, I got a $600 watch on now that my wife bought for me, but I was doing it. Good looking. Oh man, had cars, system. Hey, Sister Paul, if y'all have seen me back then, you might not be going to the church. So glad that Jamil didn't run into me, because we had to cross paths, because I was a mess. Thought I was somebody. And let me tell you what happened. God stripped me of everything. I went down so low. A real live cracked out junkie. Hey, it is what it is. Some people, they can't tell it on themselves, because they got too much. They got to impress y'all. See, I don't have to impress y'all. I've just been called to tell the truth. I don't have to go out and tell the world the bad on everybody else and then leave that person broken. I don't have to do that, because I have worked it out with God. And let me tell you what happened. I fell down, lost my job, went to jail, and I still don't think I should have went to jail, because I went to jail. I had a lot of little petty crimes, but it had to happen, because I wouldn't have never straightened up. Well, I went to jail, tried to represent myself. I thought I'd done a good job. Don't know nothing about law then. And I thought I'd done a good job. Judge sent me to jail. It's probably the best thing for me, because it made me open up my eyes to realize that those people who are with you are with you, and they love you. Take care of those people. They will never, ever do anything to hurt you. My mother, and I'm not going to start calling people out, because people know. But the friends that I had, because I had the money and I was buying everything, I felt like the prodigal son. That's why I can preach that text so good, because that was me. Oh man, y'all, I was out there buying all the drinks. People like me. And that false sense of loving you because they love what you can do for them is not worth anything. You need to surround yourself with people who love you and you can make them mad and they're not trying to hurt you. That's what you need to do. who can accept you telling them the truth about them, but you're not trying to hurt them. Okay, I fell down, y'all. And when I tell you I fell down, not one Negro who I had bought a beer or anything came and put some money on my books. The people in my life who really loved me at the time, they were there. They if I ever go back to jail again, because I'm not beyond that, because the way I talk, I don't have, no crew. As crooked as life is, anything can easily be done, and people would believe it, and it could be wrong. Listen, I fell down. My grandmother was alive at the time. This was in the year 1999, and my grandmother said, "What kind of bird?" How did that go? What kind of bird? Oh, what kind of bird that cannot fly? It was something like that. What bird is it that cannot fly? And I'm like, an ostrich? And she said, no, a jailbird. You'd have to know Minnie Mae to get that. My family was there with me, and this is how I try to tell people stuff, and I know I ought to be ashamed of myself. I just have to say it. I learned more about myself being locked up behind jail bars for failing a drug test. Oh, they'll lock you up for no rehab. I see them sending people to rehab. I had to go to rehab on my own. Not one person suggested for this black brother that he has this stuff in his system. And we've seen this over and over, and it ruins life. Let me tell you something, y'all. Everybody don't come back from that and live a decent life like I have thus far. And I'd be lying if I said I haven't, relapsed a whole bunch of times. That's what I called myself one time, Mr. Relapse. But not many people come back and live a successful life and have successful things going like I have. And the only reason is because I am listen, God backs me. I don't care. That's why I can say what I say and do what I do, because God backs me. And I don't worry. I don't worry about trying to live for you and make you think, because that's what's wrong with the church now. We got too many people who don't understand that preachers are called from you to speak back to you, and that's does not exempt us from any trouble. In this life, you will have trouble. You don't know the demons that preachers have to fight, and that's why my heart goes out to preachers, even those who I may not fellowship or associate with. My heart goes out to you because I know what you go through as a pastor. You have the only job that you can't afford to cuss nobody out, because he ought to not do that. Now, Peter got mad and he was in the wrong and cussed somebody out. And Jesus said, and Peter, go get the disciples. And that's why he said, and Peter, because remember, he's the one who denied him, cussed the girl out, and he was wrong. People get beside themselves when they're wrong. That must be a miserable life, to know you wrong, but don't want to admit it. And you go on, and then later on in life, it may catch up with you. It may not. It may catch up with your children. Who knows? Saul did something wrong, and he killed himself. He was so bad, and his children and grandchildren ended up paying for it. Ain't that something? Be careful how you treat people. I'm getting off of here. I can cut it off anywhere. I'm getting off of here because I have said enough. But listen, here's my only thing I wanted you to get. If you see somebody come in church, your church, our church, whatever church, don't treat them like they're less than you because they're a drug addict or because they're a prostitute. This woman was a prostitute, but she ended up in the courts of the king. How does a woman who's a prostitute, hey, ain't nobody going out to hang with no prostitute. Nobody is running to go hang with the prostitute. Church folks ain't going to hang with her because they better than she is. They doing it too. They doing it. If you want to, you think the people who claim to be all that ain't doing something, yeah, they doing it. You may not see them, but they doing it. Nobody wants to hang with the prostitute in public. Oh, well, yeah, they gonna, they'll sneak and do it, but I don't know nobody just going and hanging with the prostitute. People are usually down on her. Even the Bible declares this woman. They didn't call about this. Hey, Susie, Mary. They didn't say Mary the prostitute. They just said prostitute because she's been out there so long and she's been making money selling herself so long that they identified her by what she did, not who she was, because what you do is not who you are. And if your height and who you are is caught up in what you do, well, then who was you before that? I guess nobody. And in my opinion, if what you do is who you are, if I'm somebody because I'm Pastor Davis now, and folks who didn't speak to me before, now that I can preach a little bit and give, and the Lord uses me. Listen, I'm the same one. I cleaned up a little bit that I was then. I don't even like to deal with people who want to, because I have some type of public notoriety and I, go preach in different pulpits. Now I'm somebody. No, no, baby. I was somebody when I was out there drinking and doing everything. I was somebody then to God. I might not have been nobody to you, but who was it? Mike Jones. Back then, you didn't know me. Now I'm hot, y'all. Get away from me, because I'm not Jesus. Jesus was always ready to reconcile, and I am too. But don't come, just because somebody is blossoming now. What about when they didn't have nothing? Are you gonna be the one that love that person like you love your own child? And I'm not saying love your own child like your child can't do nothing wrong, and everybody else's child is like that woman who was at the parade and everybody was marching right on. I don't know what they call it because I've never played in a band, but there's some bad bands out there. Everybody was marching like they was on cue. And then here comes her son, and she's looking at her friend talking about, look at my son. He's the only one marching right. Y'all listen, that's crazy. I'm not saying that a whole lot of people can't jump up on you and say something about you that's not true. What I'm saying is more than likely, if the whole band is marching on cue and your child is stumbling and like they done, got two left feet, more than likely, that's your child that's off. Treat people right. Don't be a person who know you wrong, but then want to jump on somebody else and make people think that they just listen. Let me tell you something about church. If it was not for the church, we wouldn't, as a people, black people I'm talking about now, would not have been as far as we are now. We was called girl and boy, and they did nothing to help us. Don't forget that the church, and here I go again. If it had not been for the church, I would not have been instilled. The stuff would have not have been instilled in me. And listen, I don't even need a bulletin. I just go to church. I'm ready because I know church. If it had not been for the church, education, reading would not have been possible. All of the stuff that has happened to get us here, those old people suffered. They did more with less. They build buildings, and some of us have been going to church all of our life, and they ain't even, like Steve Harvey said, put a doorknob on the door. We got a lot of work to do, people. So if you see me, hit like, hit subscribe. You know how to do it. We need to make sure that we loving each other. Now, when you get to talking about that love stuff, people who hate, they can't stand you, but you keep on loving. The Bible says, how will they know that you listen? No, you. Where can I put my finger? Where's the camera at? You. Stop looking at everybody else. You. How will they know that you are his disciple? I rest my case. Happy Mother's Day. I have been slipping. I but I'm a person who bears gifts all the time, you know. And it came up on me. So it's been a busy week for me. I probably, like I said, drove a lot this week, and I just have not been a gift bearer this year and last year. Now I'm gonna tell you something. If you're like me and you know what you have done in your life, and um, people want to get mad at you, and they know all of their life you have taken care of them since they was a baby, and they get mad over one thing. Listen, that's probably not somebody that needs to be in your life. I'm so grateful for my mother, and some people I haven't even told Happy Mother's Day that I do it all the time. My mother, I said, Mama, because I still kind of fear Mama. I don't know what she might do at any time. She got some looks sometime, even at 70, that makes me think that she's about to set it off. So I be careful. I didn't just go over there. I called and wanted to hear her voice. My mama don't play. I said, Mama, I'm sorry. I said, what do you want? I'll go get it right now because I have not been able to go and to get anything. And it's 10 o'clock, and I was supposed to take my mother some Coke, and it's 10 o'clock at night. Listen, y'all, I got to go because y'all don't know Mama like I know Mama. She waiting on that Coke right now, and I'm finna go over there. If I look like I'm gonna have to go to a convenience store, get everything closed down at 10. Y'all gotta go because I'm not so 100% sure that Mama wouldn't try to whoop me now if I got out of line. She believe in the whoopings, you know. Now I'm sorry, y'all are scared of your children these days, and I understand, but don't let the world dictate to you what you know the Bible says. Now I better go and be a 42-year-old son and go get my mama what she wants. And I will see you, if the Lord is willing, on Tuesday. I don't really have any guests right now because it's been a busy week, and I usually have two or three ahead of time. And I've talked to some people, so we may be on Tuesday, we may not. Depends on if we can get it together. But one thing I want you to do is you pray for these people who need prayer. That's all of us. You pray for these mothers um, who have done their best to raise their children. And let me tell you something, mother. Just because your child goes astray don't mean it's all over. You done what you tried to do. You just let the Lord do the rest. Don't give up on them. Don't give up on them. Don't leave. Be there, because it is not a good taste for you to be there for all the glory, but when they go through, I'm out of here. Mother, don't do that to your child. Um, be there. And then when people come to church, treat them just like they your child. Adios, my people. We love you. I want to pray for you, and I'm going to pray for you, but it's going to be off air. But just trust in me that I'm praying and that we will do our best to get here on Tuesday. We'll be here. We might not be here with a Tuesday night special, but we'll be here. And then y'all pray for those two young ladies that I baptized today, because the journey of a new life is beginning. Oh, I'm so proud of those young ladies, and barely even know them, but they have made my heart glad. So, brothers, sisters, do the best you can in life. Don't get on your high horse, because the same people you pass going up, guess what? Will be the same people you pass going down. We love y'all. Y'all take care of yourself. Hey, pray for me.